May I please invite our CEO, Mr. Ajay Tewari, to kindly come on stage and address us. Please, sir.
A very good evening to everyone. I don't know how Khushbu said कि रहते हैं खामोश क्योंकि that's a misnomer I would say. I'll start the address by congratulating one and all present here. Congratulations to all of you and congratulations to smartData as a whole and to all the Smartians, whether they are at Nagpur or Mohali and Dehradun. I think we deserve that. And this being an annual function too, it's my responsibility to share some of the business aspects and what we have done last year. Many times I have been asked this question by many of the Smartians around that market, what is the market? Why are we not doing certain things in market? I just want to touch few aspects of that market with you so that you get more informed, and then when you ask those questions, I think some of the points I'll answer here today. As we move forward, please understand that growth will not be any more linear as it has been the case in last decade with relation to your headcount, which means that to grow a company, you can't be adding headcounts, which will in turn bring in the revenue. Time is changing, and the time is telling us, and we all should understand of end-to-end engineering. They not only create the application, but they are also responsible for revenue. And if you get the revenue, then only you will get paid accordingly. So the market is being driven by consumers today. It's the consumers who are using this market, which will they will define how this market moves, and we as an engineering company should take that into account. The good news is that there is a lot of business which comes from small to medium enterprises, which is our target area. There is a study which says that the SMEs in the SOHO sector, small homeowners, the total output of business they generate is larger than the Fortune 1000 company in the world. So that's a big potential area for us to tap into, and I think we would focus on that. What we should do in market is another question which comes from all of you many times, and I think NASSCOM, the National Software Association, has come up with a very good phrase called SMAC, which is SMAC, which is social media, mobility, analytics, and cloud. And we all are into this from last 2 years, and we have, you'll be pleased to know that we have entered into big data. We have created a team at Mohali, and we'll expand that. Now coming to performance, in this market, how Smart has performed. smartData has not achieved this target, and the CEO I have to openly acknowledge that. We have achieved 86% of our target. Having said that, we have increased our productivity by 10% through consolidation. I think, as I said in Mohali, consolidation should continue. As a management, we should facilitate that process because it's not a one-time process. And now with this additional capacity, the focus should be more on sales as well as delivery side also, because we can't deliver what we promise, we'll be left alone. It's a moment for me because 7 years back, 8 years back, I think Sanjay, myself, Archana, Alok, we are sitting in Shimla in December, and that's where we conceived this idea. And seeing this idea goes to this length is really heartwarming. Sanjay has appropriately named this as Fuji Tower. which is Fuji-san. It's a god which is revered by Japanese. And what I would ask SDN to also treat it as a very sacred place. And I'm sure if you look at this tower with reverence, you'll get your energies from it. And that energy will aspire you to go at great length. Start thinking big, because that's how you as a team will create another tower and another tower, as we see on the model there. I end my note with a famous saying by the famous poet T.S. Eliot. And I think as time has come that Smart and Nagpur now should start taking those risks and define how far you want to go. We as a management will facilitate that. The ball is in your court. Nagpur has to, as I said, think big and grow big. We are there to support you. And once again, I would congratulate all of you for this wonderful piece of building.
I would like to call upon the person who has over 30 years of experience in the financial, administrative and operational areas of a broad range of firms like spanning technology, biotech, retail and property management. He is a certified public accountant and earned his BA and MBA degree from University of California. Mr. Mason Rishi trusted and supported the vision of our founders. Friends, please welcome Mr. Mason Rishi with a big round of
the General, Alu Pandit, and others that I've seen before, Michelle, Dinesh. It's good to see you all here. And this is my second visit to Nagpur. I was here exactly 4 years ago today. Maybe not today, but within a few days of here. We had a few of us out in the front, and there was just a piece of dirt with a shovel. And 4 years later, it's unbelievable what we have here. I'm very, very impressed with what we see here. And this just doesn't happen by itself. I'd like to acknowledge the Major, who has had a lot to do with this to get this done. Good. And a gentleman I've known for 2 years, but it's very impressive to come back and see this where we are today here. And I think there's a great future here. I've always been impressed with the people here. The thing that really strikes me is I see a number of people, more than a number, that were here 4 years ago that are still here today. And this is your group that's leading you and giving you the direction that you need to be successful. And what I want to talk about just briefly, because I know I'm allocated 10 minutes, so I'm going to try to make the most of it here, is that I want to talk about the things that I talked in Dehradun with up there on Friday, the things that I addressed the people with, and I think it's expectations of what customers' expectations are in the United States, and secondly, talk about the U.S. economy, because that affects directly what your people are all doing here. So first of all, on customer expectations, and these are expectations that you're going to find really around the world, but I can tell you that it's really important that when you do your jobs that we do them on time and on budget, because this is what creates customers coming back again. If you can give them exactly, you still on here? Yes. Okay. If we can give them, finish the engagement on time and on budget, that's really important, because remember, your customer's not coming out here to see you in Nagpur for the most part. I know there's some, but mainly you're dealing with them on the phone, and occasionally video conferencing, but it's really important. They're basically judging you on the performance that you have. So it's important at all times to keep that in mind, and not just the managers, but the people that are working on each of these jobs. It's really important. And the other thing that really I feel is important is that everyone has to continue to increase their English proficiency skills, because this is important when you're dealing with people in America, because there's been a little backlash, to be honest with you. Not a huge backlash, but people in America expect that they can speak to people excuse me, that have English skills that are fairly good, so they can converse with them and understand them. If that's missing, that creates a situation where your customer maybe can't always understand you, and maybe doesn't understand all the concepts, and that creates doubt. So I think it's really important that your proficiency in English skills continue to increase and become better. It'll be good for you as an individual working for the customers, and also for your own career at smartData. Secondly, talk about the U.S. economy, because that directly affects what you're doing here. We have had a tough 5 years. It started September of, I remember exactly where I was, September 15th, 2008. I had been in the mountains, like in the equivalent of the Himalayas where I live. I came out, and Merrill Lynch had just been taken over by Bank of America. Lehman Brothers declared bankruptcy. Washington Mutual, our largest savings and loan in America, had to be taken over by JP Morgan Chase. Things were a nightmare. And to tell you, here we are 5 years later, or 5 years and 3 months after that, the financial debacle happened, we still have 1 million less U.S. employees employed now than we did 5.5 years ago. So this shows you this has not been great. It's been a very tough economy, and how this affects you is actually in a number of good ways. Number one, people like cutting costs. This is a huge factor in American society. We have to cut costs. That's where you come in. Your costs are lower. If you do a good job, you will continue to have the business, and obviously you've been doing a great job. You've had good leadership, and we're seeing the effects of that, because we originally had, I think, was it 11 employees, I heard, and now we have about, what, 200 employees, am I correct? So you're getting that. The other thing that Mr. Ajay Tewari mentioned earlier is that there's the small entrepreneurial part of America, the same as we see in India, is growing. That's because large corporations are continuing to lay off people. They're expensive, and they tend to outsource, or quite honestly, they'll hire younger, newer people. Now, where do these people go? They have to start businesses, small businesses, and that's where you can come in and help them with their IT issues, and can provide those services. So I think there's a bright future, because there's a lot of entrepreneurialism in America that's happening, and they're looking for the best solutions, and India has a great reputation in this area. There's no doubt about it. The people look to India as the #1 place to do their IT, to programming, and this whole area is really a big benefactor of India. So I see a lot of positive factors that are going on in America that are going to help you all as you move forward. So I think my 10 minutes are up, so I'm going to have to call it quits. I'll be around if you want to have any questions at dinner or afterwards. I'm more than happy to take any. And anyway, it's always great to come here. It's great to see the enthusiasm that you have, and you've got good leaders, I can tell you. I know them personally, and they care about each and every one of you, that we can move forward as a company, and your career will be increased, your skills, and you'll have a bright future here in Nagpur or Mohali or wherever else we have offices. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for giving, and they, along with everyone else, make sacrifice to get there. Friends, may I now request our chief guest, Dr. Ajay Tewari, to please address us all. Please welcome Sanjay sir.
Fuji-san. 5 days back, I was in front of... If I sound tired, I am, and I'll give you the reasons why. As Ajay said and Mason touched upon, this is the biggest project we have undertaken. And a lot of planning and thinking has gone on, right from scouting for the land, getting the financing together under guidance of Mason, figuring out the design, naming the buildings after the mountains. There was a whole bunch of discussions around that. Figuring out the floor capacity, the layouts, the windows, the colors. It's not been easy, but we had a performer, Abhijit, with the backing of Ajay, Vinay, and Alok. So job well done. Now that we are going to be here, understand that this is a community that's going to be displaced. So what I proposed in Mohali was, so far I've been talking about 3 stakeholders: investors, employees, and customers. And obviously, as Mason said, we should keep them happy. I would like to add a 4th pillar, which is the community. And Ajay proposed a term, smart citizen. So the company is not just doing things, but is also behaving in the right and moral way. It's contributing, giving back to the society. And that's why I backed the idea of it being a green building. So we're not making a huge impact or polluting the environment. So I was very happy to see that the little wind thing that goes on there and how it balances between the solar and the wind to light up the corridors and the areas outside the engineering floors. So that also is something, we will develop a theme and vision around it on how to make it in the DNA of smartData. This should lead to the sound barrier that I've been talking about, breaking the revenue barrier of 10 million. And now you have it. Obviously, I'm not going to use it. Ajay is not going to be here, so it's really up to you, Smartians at Nagpur, to make that happen and help us get to the milestone that has been in my head for at least the last 4 or 5 years. So I have done my job. We have done a job. You have it. Now it's for you to create the capacity and get it done. And hopefully we'll have Mason next time to announce or do another unveiling. As we grow, it's a kind of sticky point, but I want to say it because otherwise it gets unsaid. As we grow, there will be good things happening, many people working, many projects happening, but there will be some bad apples happens. There was an incident that was brought to my attention. So I encourage any of you, if you see someone taking a shortcut, somebody not doing the right way, especially not following the 12 rules we outlined in the handbook. Last time I think it was done in Mohali. Please bring it immediately to your supervisor's attention, and I'll make sure it gets addressed. So again, it will be integrated into the part of this good citizenship that I'm talking about. Now on to the lighter things. I know someone gave Mason, Mr. Brucey, a great introduction, but he has been really a personal friend and a confidant, especially in the last 5 years. Not only helps me manage all the finances, but he has decades of experience in healthcare, oils, retail, hotel, and I keep finding out his new experiences. So really the insights you should take advantage of and listen to what he has to say by asking the right questions. Insight that why America is maybe shrinking, the big houses may be shrinking and the small SMEs are growing. There's a reason behind it. And that's where smart data comes into the picture, because obviously some entrepreneur somewhere has ideas